why is diversity and inclusion important in tech companies today? And what would you say are the defining factors of diverse and inclusive leadership?
Yeah, that's a great question, Michael. And it's interesting that after so many years of work in this field, we still have to have this particular question on why is it important. But it's also a good way of bringing people back to the context and to the stage. Talking about a few numbers, and let's probably step back and take a look at a few numbers in the industry or from the industry, and different surveys, different researches. It's interesting to see that only 1 in 4 C-suite leaders is a woman, and only 1 in 20 is a woman of color. Only 15% of engineering jobs are held by women overall, making it the STEM field where women are most highly underrepresented. It's also interesting to see on the other side, which is the flip side of this, that behaviors also differ when we talk about diverse communities and population. One of the examples there is, as per a LinkedIn research and data, women are 16% less likely to apply to a job after they go through the entire job description. And women are also 26% less likely to ask for a referral, which is one of the major sources of talent when we talk about, or good pools of talent when we look at engineering talent, and that's employee referrals. So looking at all this data in context, why is it important for organizations? For tech companies, there are a couple of reasons why it's important. Of course, the entire topic of financial performance, and there have been different examples in the market, from McKinsey to Gartner to Accentures of the world, and I'm really lucky to have that grounding in Accenture as my former employer there, of financial performance. So as diverse as the population you have, as inclusive as an organization you have, that really shows up in your performance and financial performance as well. Where does this impact? It impacts, number one, is in innovation and creativity. You're bringing in different ways of thinking. You're bringing in different kinds of backgrounds. So you are also looking at another topic like problem solving. So you bring different ideas to the table when you're approaching a particular problem. I think all of us remember that one picture that had come into play a couple of months ago. This was, I think, some conference of leaders in the world, and you had this whole table, a white table with a lot of men sitting around, almost wearing the same tie. With all due respect, that particular picture was like, okay, no one made a meme. It was a picture. Of course, a lot of memes were made after that, but it was a picture. So, and no one even thought about that, seeing the room, that, oh my God, there's something wrong going on there. So you can imagine, if you throw a problem in that room, how many different solutions you'll find to that particular problem, right? So that's problem solving. The third is pretty interesting, and this is something I always remember when I remember about my Zalando days also from that time, is the customers that we cater to. That is a very diverse population. We cater to people coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, different sexual identities, etc. So how can we not have an employee base that is representative of the customer base, or the markets that we operate in? Fourth, this is again something we know in tech. There's always a competition for talent, and we are always looking at attracting talent and looking at magnetic leaders. And this is also something that we hear from the millennials today. That's one of the things that they want to check when they are looking at the interviewer panel: who's working in the organization, what kind of a team construct is there. Your diversity and inclusion is very, very important, and diverse teams are important to also peg on this talent and attraction. And finally, looking at the brand reputation itself. And we've seen some real challenges in the past when we've had certain advertisements, marketing campaigns, which really failed, probably because there was no one in the room to call them out and say that, hey, are you sure you want to do this? I don't think this is settled in with this this part of the population, etc. So when you see that, you know that, okay, you needed that one voice, an additional voice in the room to help your brand reputation as well. A couple of things that tech companies can do to work more towards this achievement of their goal on becoming more diverse, especially around engineering or management or leadership in tech is first and foremost, I think, is starting from the top. Unless you have commitment, unless you have measurable topics for the leadership, and when I talk about the leadership, really starting from the CEO, the CFO, the C-suite, and then down. If you don't have commitment, then it's just for show, it's just pinkwashing and nothing else. The second bit is when we talk about commitment from the top, it also talks about the financial aspect. The many a times we see that, yes, the organization is talking a lot about DEI, but you don't even have a budget carved out for it. So when you talk about that commitment should also be in financial terms. You should have a proper bucket and kitty for the DEI activities to happen. The second one would be inclusive decision making. So whatever is the way that the leadership has put as a governance, whether you talk about a RACI model or a SIPOC model or any such model, there should be a way of ensuring that different voices in the organization do have a say in final decision making or sensitive topics on how to parse communications. We've seen some horrendous hows happening in the last couple of months. Beginning of this year, we saw big companies such as Meta, Google, Salesforce, etc., who went through layoff processes. A lot of tech companies have done the same thing. Yeah. However, we saw some of these tech companies carry out the process in the worst possible manner, and some of them carrying out the process in a humane manner. We would love to see what was the difference in the room, who was there in the room when you talked about the communication, when you talked about the steps, etc., on whether a particular employee who was on a maternity leave just got the shock of a layoff news, or was this person actually called up and informed, given the context, and said that, hey, relax, once you come back, we'll discuss, this is the process, this is how we handhold you, etc. So that's also something that shows on inclusive decision making and communication, if the leadership stands with that or not. And very important in today's global world, most tech companies are global. We just saw Booking.com open their India hub in Bangalore. I've heard that Volvo has opened a new tech hub in Krakow. So the world is global for tech companies. One of the traits of inclusive leaders is cultural competence. And I really love to refer to my favorite author's book here, Erin Meyer, Culture Map. Leaders who can work across cultures, who can make themselves learn about different cultures, and can take an inclusive stance within their teams as well, because some are more extrovert, some are more introvert, etc. Some are sticklers for time. Me, I'm an Indian living in Germany. I know what kind of hassle it is for the time aspect. So how do you be inclusive on that? So I think these are a couple of traits for sure. I could go on and on, but just for sake of time, these are the 4 traits I would definitely talk about when you come to inclusive leaders.